what an explosive day for the New York Red Bulls. Not one, but two trades with their Canadian counterparts, Montreal and also we talked about Toronto making a trade with the Montreal Impact and having to wait after that trade took place with Montreal and the Red Bulls. Let's talk about the trade that the Red Bulls made today. Felipe on his way to the Red Bulls. A little bit surprising there. Jesse Marsch loves this guy, the time that he spent there in Montreal with him. Talk about how this all came about.
I think originally the Red Bulls wanted Montreal's allocation pick so they could bring in a player that they want for the team, for the midfield. And according to Jesse Marsch on the conference call today, the deal grew into that. And so basically the Red Bulls sent Ambrose Oyango and Eric Alexander and allocation money, up north, and they got what they wanted, and then some. It's not totally surprising. In all my years of covering soccer, coaches always bring in players that they're familiar with, that they could trust, that are reliable to them.
To me, I'm surprised, Michael, that the Red Bulls let Eric Alexander go. I thought this was a serviceable player. I thought this was a solid player, a guy that was really developing and molding into one of the more solid players that the Red Bulls had the last couple of years.
Well, I thought his last season, 2014, was his best year with the Red Bulls. He was only there for 2 years, but when they put him in the middle with Dax McCarty, their defense solidified. And we're talking two defensive, essentially they were playing two holding midfielders. Each had their opportunities to move up into the attack. But ever since they put them together, they went on this incredible run in the regular season and then the playoffs. And that's going to be something that a difficult hole that they're going to fill, because I really thought McCarty and Alexander were a dynamic duo in the middle there. They understood their roles and they did it well. And, let's face it, it's not always about scoring goals, but it's about stopping the opposition. I guess we'll have to wait and see if this works out in the trade, but it's a tough piece to give up, because he was solid last year. And that's nothing wrong about being solid. You don't have every player being an all-star, but here at the end of the year, like I said, he and McCarty helped transform the team. So it's a loss for the team, no doubt about it.
Michael, to me, it looks like Jesse Marsch and his staff want to go with a younger looking Red Bull squad than in years past. They want to have players that are hungry, players that are athletic, players that are going to soak in and listen to what the head coach has to say. And from my outlook, from this vantage point, they want to steer away from some veterans that might infect that locker room. Do you agree with that, or do you feel that they still are going to add some veterans to help out this young squad?
Well, I always think, any team in MLS, you need veterans, no doubt about it. And I still think, being in New York, I think you need a big name. Especially with that new team coming into town this year, even though they haven't made much of a splash in a positive way, obviously, because of the Frank Lampard fiasco. But, you're going to need I think a headline player would be nice. They say they want to go with a younger roster. That's fine. I could accept that. But for any successful team these days, I think you need a combination of players, young, middle-aged, and veterans. And if you don't have that, I don't think you get very far. I can't prove it at the moment, but that's just my gut feeling.